Hey, this is Kevin, and I'm not childish. I'm at a higher level of immaturity. This video stuff's a little more difficult than I was thinking. Hell, you even have to think about straightening your hair up and what you look like. So, I'm not used to that. Um, this this episode, I said I was going to talk to you about how I came up with this title and name for my site and this saying. I come up with sayings a lot. A lot of them aren't worth 2 cents, but I might get a laugh out of it at the time it happens. It's sort of a lot of them are those that you like kind of had to have been there. Um, but this one, I was kind of in deep thought while I was watching two groups of people get into an argument. And as they were arguing, I thought, man, seems rather familiar. And I thought about how I would watch children argue, specifically my own. Um, Not that I can give you any exact examples, but you know, they would get into it, and they just their reasoning was really it came down to, well, that's just what I want. And the other thing and I don't care what you want or how it affects you. And I thought, well, now here these are adults and they don't see this issue at all. You know, they don't realize that in reality they're acting very much like children, but they're really not children. So what are they? Are they mature? I've seen that term thrown around, and I've come to the conclusion that if you are truly mature, there's nowhere else to go. You've made it. Sort of like being perfect. If you truly are perfect, there's nothing more for you to have to do. So I decided that really maturity, being mature or reaching maturity is really not possible. So then, as someone that's not childish but isn't mature, where are we at? Well, that's where I finally came up with the term I'm at a higher level of immaturity. And I kind of like it because it gets a laugh out of people and things like that, but it's actually serious as well. And that's another thing I like. I like thoughts or statements that are funny or entertaining, but also thought provoking. And so I have to challenge people when I'm talking. I don't want to just sit there and babble on and not have any value to what I've said. So that's where I came up with it, and it seems like almost every situation can fit into that statement. How far along to maturity are we? Um, how are we going to get there? Are we taking time to try to improve? Which I have found that to be a question that I've come to the conclusion that a lot of people are not trying to improve. They are satisfied with wherever they're at. In fact, some people are so satisfied they are actually stuck in a time warp. Is that what you want to call it? Some people they grew up until they hit like 25, 30, and that's it. And so, because of that, anything that happens since then is not acceptable to them. So even as music and things like that change, they cannot accept it. What's that? I don't call that music. Now this is music. And then they start playing their 80s dance music or 70s rock and roll, or the 60s hippie music. And, they're not growing. Now that doesn't mean they can't like one variety of music over another. But in any area, you got to allow for change. You look at your children and say, well, I didn't do it that way, so they're not going to. Well, I ran into that while I was growing up. My father wouldn't even let me wear flare-leg jeans, bell-bottom jeans. Well, he wouldn't let me wear jeans to school at all. So you can imagine what that was like growing up in the 70s. So that was quite strange, and sometimes embarrassing to have to go to school like that. And so I have this belief that I am at a higher level of immaturity. I do still look at things and do things that are somewhat childish. But some things I'm actually looking at in a childlike way. And I recommend that highly for anybody. Because it just is enjoyable to just say why. Why do we have to do it that way? Why can't we do it this way? Why can't we put chili peppers on our ice cream? Something crazy. Who knows? I don't know why you can't. Hey, why can't you have bacon on ice cream? Well, now you can. And nobody thinks it's, and for the most part, people don't look at it as being crazy anymore. How about salt on chocolate? That was never thought of in the past. And believe it or not, I recognize that salt and chocolate were a great combination. And in fact, the way I figured it out was, why do people like Reese's peanut butter cups so much? It's not really the peanut butter itself, or alone, I should say. It's the salt in the peanut butter and then with the chocolate. That's what kicks it off. That's what makes it good. So, while I'm going through this, I don't know if you read some of my opening, but I want to ask questions in a childlike way and just say why. Why are things like that? Why haven't we progressed? Why don't we consider the other person's side, and why aren't we more realistic in our views? Are we not all humans? Have we not each been created for a reason? I think so. But we have to look for it. That means you have to grow. That means you have to give up being childish and reach up to a higher level of immaturity. And when you reach a new level, then you reach for another one. This adventure doesn't stop at any age. It's continuous till the day we die. I'd like everyone to, that listens to this, challenge yourself. Remember, if nothing else, that someone, has this belief. And I ask that anyone else that's experienced the same thing as me or has the same kind of questions, to please write. Give me a comment. I'd love to hear from anybody, and I'd actually love to have ideas for my channel, my show, whatever you want to call it. And I'll be seeing you next time. Thanks for your time.